Being an old Gen Xer, one of the things left over from my youth is my love of reading the daily funnies. You know, the ones in the newspaper that I would read every morning. Of course, the ones in the newspaper are crap now, so I've graduated to reading ones on the internet. One of the ones I do kind of like is Dork Tower. It's generally apolitical. It's generally just talking about tabletop games or video games or movies and that sort of thing. Kind of nice, you know, I'm taking a dump on the toilet in the morning, and believe me, at my age, they get longer and longer. It gives me something to read while I'm doing that. Except today. Unfortunately, most of these comic creators these days are social justice warriors, and these motherless bull pussies, they just cannot keep their goddamn politics in any sort of reality. So let's take a look at this first one. This is after Election Day, and the characters are thinking, it's okay. It'll go back to normal in a few years. It's okay. It'll go back to normal soon. Don't worry. It'll go back normal eventually. Go back to Africa, nigger. Spray painted on the black character's door. Because that's what he thinks is happening these days. That's what he thinks is going on. And when people saw this, they were a little irritated. So he sent a tweet of what he says things are happening to his Jewish friends. Cowardly thugs are sending my Jewish friends photos of ovens. Prove it. Oh, look, a block button. Yeah, John, go ahead and block us. Go ahead and block everybody that demands a little proof. Because I gotta tell you, right now, there is nothing but fake hate crimes. Take a look at all this. From 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. But when we get to 2012 and the SJWs really ratchet up, take a look at all of these. They're just insane. 2013, even more. 2014, tons. Muslims, Rolling Stone, and their rape on campus interview where it turned out to be a fake. 2015, I can't even get them all on one page. I had to take 2 screenshots to get them all. So yeah, John, we'd like a little more evidence. And believe me, you give me the evidence, I'll be right behind you saying that guy's a dick. But we don't even have to go back that far. Let's just take a look at what's going on in the election. A Muslim student at San Diego University was robbed and may have had her car stolen Wednesday by 2 men who made comments about President-elect Donald Trump and Muslims. Because, you know, when I'm robbing somebody at knife point, I gotta get in a few political points at the same time. In a separate incident, a female student at the University of Lafayette claimed to have been beaten, robbed, and had her hijab ripped off by 2 men, one of them wearing a white Trump hat. But on Thursday, Lafayette police said that their investigation, the woman admitted to fabricating the story. She fucking made it up. That's what's going on here, John. So yeah, I'd like a little more proof than just, oh, a block button. This is Chris Ball. Chris Ball is a Calgary filmmaker that said he was watching the election results with supporters when the Republican candidate began to lob epithets. We got supporters of the Republican candidate begin, it could have been Trump. I mean, he's been known to lob an epithet or two. We got a new president, you fucking faggots, they said, Ball told the Metro Calgary. And then when he left the bar alone, those Trump supporters followed him into an alleyway and assaulted him, bloodying him up to a pulp. The last thing he remembers before awakening bloody on the pavement was having a beer bottle smashed over his head. Friends took him to the hospital. Only problem is, they can't find any record of this in the police department. Snopes, for God's sakes, is not calling it real. You may have seen an unconfirmed story regarding a possible hate crime incident involving a Chris Ball, in quotes, alleging that he was assaulted in Santa Monica on election night. Santa Monica, California, the bluest of the blue fucking states, who voted overwhelmingly for Hillary Clinton, is apparently a hotbed of homophobia and racism. Who would have thunk it? This seems just has the stink of credibility all over it, doesn't it? The Santa Monica Police Department and the City of Santa Monica have not received any information indicating this crime occurred in the City of Santa Monica. We encourage the alleged victim to come forward and work with us if a crime did in fact take place. A check of the local hospitals revealed there was no such victim of any such incident, admitted or treated as well. Jesus Christ. I mean, if you got beaten up to a pulp and they were screaming racial slurs at you, and this actually happened, wouldn't you be at the police department saying, I got names, I could give you the eye color, I've got genetic samples because you fucking blood, the knuckles is in my face, I'll give you anything you want. You know you would. But for some reason, nobody can find these people after the fact, except on Twitter. That's where you go, you put it on Twitter. Well, we don't believe it anymore. You can't cry wolf forever and expect us to take it seriously, John. I'm sorry. And tell me something. I got a theory, and I'll take this a little further, but I got a theory of why all these seem to happen in the blue states. Maybe the racists really are there, but not the way you think. Here's another story on trans suicide. The new wave of trans teen suicides began circulating on Wednesday. One few people posted Facebook updates claiming the information had come from private support groups of parents of transgender children. It was given legs Wednesday night by the Guardian writer and Out magazine editor-at-large, who tweeted that at least 8 times youth had committed suicide in the wake of Trump's win. Holy fucking shit. As we continue to investigate the reported suicides, I've spoken with GLAAD and we feel it's best to take down the original tweet until families can come forward and we have better facts. No, heaven forbid we should have some fucking facts before we just start pushing this shit out there. Currently there's a fear of suicide contagion due to social media. Suicide contagion? Oh, I was feeling fine and then I saw my people in my group were committing suicide, so I figured like a lemming I should do it too. Nick Adams, director of the GLAAD Transgender Media Program, told BuzzFeed News that there were unconfirmed reports that some trans people died by suicide in the hours following the election. Though at that point, it was not possible to substantiate those rumors because they didn't fucking happen. But while the mainstream media may have heeded his warning, the rumors escalated on social media and blogs spread by activists, journalists, thousands of scared and saddened individuals. Jesus Christ. You poor, poor snowflakes. By Friday, a list of names was circulating. A list of names was circulating of 10 transgendered Americans who had killed themselves. Here's the list. Take a good look at it. Now, here's the thing. This reporter actually did some investigating, which is helpful. In trying to confirm that any of the named people had committed suicide or even fucking existed, I've turned up nothing. Most of the names don't exist in the web search results outside of the numerous shares on this list. The more common names yield some people with those names, but none of them appear to be dead. They're still posting on social media or match the ages or descriptions given. If the named people exist, they appear to have no online presence prior to their suicides. They were just maybe they were the dead people that voted. Even though several of them are being described as prominent activists, they had no Twitter profiles, no marriage records, no white page listing, none of the normal online trails you might expect at least the adults to have, nor was there any record of their existence in the Nexus national databases for people, press releases, and news stories. Figuring the first names given here may not match legal names, I retried Lexis searches with just last names and ages given. I tried just last names with words such as obituary, funeral, death, suicide, and transgender. I tried the last names at any media mentions in the past 7 days. Assuming that maybe some of the spellings were off, I tried variations on them that were suggested by search engines. Morano for Morano, or Ryan for Rian. I tried full names and last names only in the database of obituaries for the past 2 weeks. Nothing. I tried Nexus search for any mention of suicide, teen suicide, or teenager deaths in the past week, under the theory that maybe the names were listed as pure pseudonyms, but the stories were still based in reality. This time turned up no suicide news and no teen deaths that weren't accounted for or otherwise, like a car crash. Are you going to tell me that 10 kids, 10 suicide deaths, all teens, these poor angels that are completely fucking made up, if they were real, they wouldn't be all over the goddamn news? You don't think that the mainstream media wouldn't have just plastered that everywhere as proof of Donald Trump's the mistake we made of having Donald Trump? It's because they make it up. In one of our widely shared stories, a black woman claimed that 4 white men had threatened her while she was pumping gas at Sema, Delaware gas station Wednesday. After talking about things would change now that Trump was president, one of the men allegedly approached her and asked, "How scared are you, you black bitch?" before saying, "I should kill you now. You're a waste of air." Another man allegedly flashed a gun and said, "You're lucky there's witnesses or else I'd shoot you right here." Delaware. Another blue of the blue states. The woman, Ashley Boyer, posted about this awful incident on Facebook because when I get threatened, I immediately start posting on Facebook. I ain't calling 911. I'm posting on Twitter. I'm making a YouTube video about it because look at me. In an update that was since deleted, no kidding. On Thursday, she followed up by noting charges were filed, fugitives were caught. But when the Philly Voice contacted Smyrna Police Thursday, the department said no such report of such an incident had been filed. No one had contacted them about anything similar. So Philly Voice reached out to Delaware State Police, who reported that no neighboring police agencies had received any such reports either. There was no record of any local 911 calls about such an incident. There is no record of this occurring in Smyrna, if at all. Come on, John. I'm giving you incident after incident, example after example, that shows people are crying wolf constantly. It's usually SJWs, and it's usually out of blue states. There's a pattern here. What you're putting out there is horseshit. The second alleged incident, out of Minnesota, another blue state, involved an Asian college student named Kathy Mira II, who said she was accosted by a white man crossing a bridge on the University of Minnesota Twin Cities campus. "I was stopped in my tracks by a white man who yelled at me, 'Go back to Asia.'" II posted to Facebook. Of course, she posted it to Facebook in an update that had received more than 17,000 shares as of Thursday morning. What is that? What kind of power trip does that give you to put something on there and watch 17,000 people and have this get posted on news sites and media? What kind of a rush might that give you? I mean, I don't want to play Occam's razor here, but do you think that may be part of it? I pretended not to hear anything and continued on walking since I did not want to create conflict. No, you just wanted to post the thing on YouTube and get thousands, tens of thousands of people in an uproar. Shortly after that moment, I was stopped by that same man who told me, "Don't you know it's disrespectful to walk away from someone when they are talking to you?" Yeah, that's how guys in Minnesota talk. After that, the man grabbed II's wrists and threatened to hit her, so she punched him, according to the Post. His friends who were watching the entire situation go down saw that I was going to win fight and came over to his rescue and accused me of assaulting him and called the police. According to II, the police arrived and handcuffed her, but eventually let her off with a warning. Yet neither the campus police nor the Minneapolis Police Department have any record of the incident II describes. We heard complaint from the student related to Washington Bridge yesterday. UMPD did not respond to Bridge or make arrests. The University of Minnesota Police Department tweeted Thursday, also asking II or anyone who did know about the alleged incident to come forward. Here was the response from the city police. "Many people have contacted us about a social media posting of an incident with a female on the Washington Avenue Bridge yesterday. At this time, we have not been able to find a record of the police call relating to this incident. If anyone has any information, please contact us. We'd like to talk to the person who posted this on social media." Yeah, this fucking happened. I don't believe it. Any more than I believe this happened in New York. Once again, a blue state. Yes, I believe the pain is there. I believe somebody put it there. But I don't believe it was some Nazi white supremacist. I believe it was a social justice warrior making it up. This one takes the cake. Flying a Nazi flag in his home in San Francisco's Dolores Heights on Wednesday was Frederick Robert's attempt to make a social comment on the president-elect Donald Trump. But this 48-year-old quickly realized the display was misguided when neighbors spotted the ominous swastika and immediately confronted him in the street outside his house. Robert, who is retired and lives in the storybook-esque house on the corner of Sanchez and 21st Street, said he didn't like Trump's comments about Muslims and Mexican immigrants during the election. So he puts up a Nazi flag. Well, I don't know about you, but I have 50 Nazi flags sitting in my back room just ready to be put out and unfurled to show how much I hate racism. Do you think maybe that these racists are actually the SJWs? Do you think maybe, who the fuck owns a Nazi flag? Who the fuck keeps one in their back ready to be pulled out? Who does this? Unless you're maybe a racist? Maybe this is just a way for you to get your kicks out and fly the Nazi, your freak flag, as they say, fly your Nazi flag out. Who the fuck even has one? Who would think of this? Who would think of wanting to fight racism with a goddamn Nazi flag? What kind of moron does this? Who even, how topsy-turvy in your brain do you have to be do you think that this is the way to go? And it doesn't stop there. A professor tried to promote diversity in the field of medicine. Instead, Professor Nancy Schertz accidentally offended an entire university. Schertz, a University of Oregon professor, another blue state, was put on administrative leave after a photo surfaced of her using blackface to dress up as a black doctor from a book. Who thinks of this but racists? Who would do this? This is all happening in blue states. Everything I've put in is happening in blue states. And every one of them are insane. Only insane people would do this. Only insane people live in these fucking racist bubbles. It's crazy. Well, let me show you what real racism is.
I believe vote Trump, damn it. You voted Trump! You voted Trump! Oh, yeah, he voted Trump! Yeah! Oh, y'all vote. Oh, y'all do that to Damn. Beat his ass! Don't vote Trump. Don't vote Trump! Don't vote Trump! Yeah, this shit didn't it. Still in script. Hey, y'all be gone though. Wait, take the lighter, shit.
Here's actual video proof, John, of a white man getting beat up by black thugs for voting Trump. They take him out of his car. They kick his ass. They steal his car. And they screaming at him, yeah, he voted Trump. He deserves it. This is an actual hate crime on video. Here's your proof, which is one more than you've given me. I'm telling you, these people are the racists. Whether it's the soft bigotry of low expectations, or they just fucking want to whip out their old Nazi flag that they just happen to have and run it up the old flagpole or put on the blackface, they are the fucking racists. Maybe you should try taking a few minutes to understand why Trump really won. And here's a story I have from The Federalist. The most misunderstood story of 2016 is how Donald Trump won the industrial Midwest. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania hadn't voted for Republicans since the 1980s. And most polls showed Hillary Clinton ahead by a comfortable margin in these states. Ohio went for Obama in the last two presidential elections, as did Iowa. Trump won them all. Over the past year, I spent time covering the election in 3 of these states, most recently in Ohio and Pennsylvania, writing about how party loyalties were shifting among working-class Democratic voters. Trump's election was fueled by high voter turnout in rural and suburban communities in these Midwestern states, especially among former Democrats and independents. In the Rust Belt towns that few national reporters bothered to visit, I didn't find many racists or rednecks. Some, but not many. The mainstream media caricature of the angry blue-collar whites turning to Trump out of racial animosity and misogyny didn't stand up. Yeah, not to mention that all these same people voted Obama in twice. Most of the people I spoke to were simply discouraged. Many were embarrassed at the state of their communities, which are just struggling with deindustrialization and the horrifying heroin epidemic. Support for Trump in these places didn't have much to do with the belief that he would fix these problems. Not many people in northeastern Ohio or western Pennsylvania really think that Trump is going to bring back the steel mills or put coal miners back to work. Their support for him had a different explanation: respect. Trump was the first national political figure in generations who saw them, acknowledged them, and that they have been left behind, that their cities and towns have been in a state of persistent decline, and promised to help out somehow. When you're being used to being dismissed as bitter folks who cling to their guns and religions, as President Obama did in 2008, or denounced as deplorables and irredeemable as Hillary Clinton did during the election, respect goes a long way. And even if there are no easy solutions from Washington or anywhere else to the problems that plague your town, they didn't want to be talked down to like a bunch of, and treated like they were a bunch of immoral racists. And given that every single example I have that I put into this video came from a blue state, more than likely from an SJW moralist, pearl-clutching, fainting couch racist. And that's what they are. Only people who are racist would have a Nazi flag in the back. Only people who are racist would put on the blackface. And only people who are racist would just assume that everybody doesn't agree with them are bad people. And usually it's about white people. That white people are all bad. Well, you've reaped what you've sown, and you haven't learned a fucking thing. These people only wanted to be listened to. They are poor, and they are hurting, and there's no industry in their towns, and Trump offered to bring that back. I don't know whether Trump is going to do any of the things he's going to do. But I don't want to see any more of your stupid, hey, everybody's going crazy and everybody hates blacks and everybody hates gays. And it's not true. And all of these examples I've shown you show how not true it is. Going to have to come up with a new line. You're going to have to come up with a new song and dance. Something that actually inspires people. Personally, I don't think you got any to do it.